to Serial Podcast 9.
This is the intro SerialNine podcast.
Welcome. Gerard de Peralta.
Kevin Petersen.
Ryan Benoit, and this is Serial Podcast 9, episode Who Gives a Fuck?
Yeah, sure. Today we're talking about motorcycles and when car guys get into motorcycles. We have a guest today. His name is Matthew Petersen.
How's it going?
I can't believe we got Kevin's half brother to be on the podcast.
So why is Matt on the podcast?
Because I know a lot about motorcycles, I guess. I wasn't sure if you were looking for an answer from me.
Yeah.
Well, no, I was actually looking for an answer from the other guys. But whatever.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no,
I feel like I barely talked to Matt, so I
feel
know.
like Matt's had a bunch of motorcycles. Matt worked at a motorcycle dealership for a while.
Yep.
Matt worked at that same motorcycle dealership again, you know?
Yeah, and he definitely was into cars before motorcycles.
Yes.
Yes,
Matt-
interesting.
Matt's
Can you
OG.
do a Papa Wheelie? Is that a thing that you do on a motorcycle?
Papa Wheelie.
That's my dad.
I'm
He's
gonna
Papa
say-
Wheelie.
Which is also then Kevin's
Wheelie
dad,
Jr.
which is yeah. Before we start this episode, I literally know nothing about motorcycles and have no interest in knowing anything about motorcycles. So I've decided to take up Gerard's wife's point of view, which is to try to convince Gerard to never get on a motorcycle again.
Well, I mean, it's kind of a half view because she has, like, some of the best experiences in her life have been on a two-wheeled, not a motorcycle, a scooter, but still, it's a two-wheeled vehicle.
Yeah, I mean, scooters are cool. Motorcycles seem real dangerous, and you got 3 kids at home, Gerard.
The same thing, man. Like motorcycles,
Scooters are dangerous, man. Like,
yeah,
you know?
scooters in our environment here in North America,
yeah.
scooters are probably more dangerous for sure.
I would almost say like the most dangerous thing on two wheels is a e-bike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
but
can go
like
you can go 70K. You have no licensing required, and you're probably not wearing any gear.
I can't believe I'm going to be the one to say this, but did we come here to talk about e-bikes or motorcycles? What the fuck?
we're here to talk about any type of two-wheeled mode of transportation that has an engine. You guys can do a bicycle one later.
Engine or motor. Yeah.
Motor. Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
all right. Perfect. All right. Let's explain motorcycles. I don't know how to start this.
Well, let's start with this. Okay, so Matt, let's give us a little bit of history of your car history. Let's start with the car history.
Okay, so like the first car that I purchased for myself was like a S13 hatch, like an 89 beautiful burgundy paint that I decided to spray paint just horribly, because it was in the era when painting your car flat black was cool, but I didn't want to do flat black, so I chose gloss black. But try and paint an entire car with Krylon gloss black paint and have it come out good, like to an acceptable level. And you can't. It looks like fucking shit. And I did it in my driveway, and it was just horrible. I had that for a little bit.
You drifted that car, yeah?
That's where me and Kevin started getting into drifting. He was the Corolla guy and I was the S13 guy, and we started going to drift events and we built the cars together, the coilovers and any 4x114 wheel that I could find. But you guys talked about your first set of wheels and they were embarrassing. It's your first set of wheels. So mine were Koenig Blatants. So 17x7 plus 42.
Oh man,
Civic
size.
Yeah,
Civic
I bought them from a junkyard. Okay, so I bought 4 of them from a junkyard, and one of them, once I got a tire mounted, the tire place was like, "Yo, this one's super bent, man. We're not going to put a tire on this. It's a liability." So then I had to go find another one, and Yeah, I went back to the junkyard, and the guy for some reason hated Kevin. Like he wouldn't even let Kevin in the
All
store.
junkyard guys hate Kevin.
they wouldn't let him in. He was like, you can come in, but your friend has to wait outside. And I swear,
So true.
I swear you hadn't even done anything. Like it's like he just didn't like you as a person.
Kevin, what about your aura made people not like you? Like
It was the
specifically,
shaved head and the chain.
Yeah.
what kind of chain did you wear? I don't understand.
A big silver
I don't
one.
know. Yeah, like
I don't know. Yeah, you do know.
Hey, was it from the mall? Was it from one of those kiosks in the mall? Because I had a big cross like that too.
no, I didn't. I never bought it. Like it was a gift.
Well, that's nice. Why don't they know that you're sentimental? I think if they would have known you were sentimental with your silver chain, they would have let you in. To the
Well, maybe it's
junkyard.
because I had like 12 mil stretched ears with like diamond plugs or whatever. You know.
Part of me thought when you said like you were wearing a chain, I actually thought like junkyard dog style. You just like had like
Yeah.
No,
hardware
he would have been like,
store.
"Yo, come back here. You work here."
Yeah.
So the S13 basically, like, full wide body body kit. Like, I don't know. It was like pretty
Yeah,
good.
let's
Like,
bring back body kit.
bright.
Yeah.
I don't remember what kit it was, but anyway, that's like, oh, what's the one with the rabbit like Playboy bunny logo thing? What's that?
Instant
Origin.
gentleman.
No, maybe it wasn't. Yeah, I don't think it was Instant Gentleman.
No, it's Origin.
Origin. Yeah, Origin.
It's the Playboy
get-
bunny, but he
yeah.
looks evil and he's smoking.
Yeah.
Get it
So I-
together, Gerard.
So that's
Sorry,
like
sorry.
how far away my brain is from S13 stuff now. Yeah, so I had that. I painted it rainforest green, which is like a really obnoxious like green color. Started getting pulled over all the time. Then
Looked like John
basically,
Deere green.
it wasn't the color that I exactly wanted, but when you're going by like a 2-inch sample, it looked
With
good.
single stage.
Yeah, exactly, right. But anyway, so I had that. The cops kept pulling me over, and so I get rid of the car. I sell it, and then I get a '89 Cressida.
And why'd you get the Cressida, bro?
Probably because of you, I think. Like
Because Serial 9 was sick, and then
because you guys came out because Paulo came out in that Supra and did a sick like non-burnout.
yeah, yeah.
Because you guys were showing me and Kevin what's up.
I know, right? Yeah.
So I was like, man, I want to be like those guys.
Dude, and then you bought a car that had like a fucked up motor, a 7M,
Yeah.
for like basically like pennies.
Yeah,
Which is what they were
Yeah.
back then.
good time. $800.
Yeah.
I got it for $800, and
Fuck,
the
that's
1J.
expensive actually for back then.
So then I got the 1J for like $1,100 or $1,200.
Yeah.
Right, and
Yeah.
and then Gerard put it in, and I like assisted with cold beverages probably.
Yeah.
like loosening stuff, because that's all I can be trusted to do is taking things off. I can't be trusted to put things on.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, like R154 stance GR Plus Pro coilovers, I think, which were like sick. Like just the thing rode amazing.
Yeah.
And then I got some TSW Holstons. So, like,
which are actually sick.
they're pretty sick. I still have them.
Sure.
TSW Club.
So far, the only endorsement we can get for this podcast is SerialNine, barely, and probably TSW. Like nobody else is going to consider it.
What about Nissan and Toyota?
Yeah, Nissan.
Well,
Toyota.
they don't need us. And also, Gerard talks way more about Porsche tin cans than anything else. So it doesn't matter. How do we get to bikes? So far, you're reading my mail. I love everything you're putting down. So when did you become irrelevant to me?
So it was like kind of a similar situation with the Cressida. Like it was like drove under the radar. It had like a full straight pipe, basically, I think, from the turbo back. So it was pretty loud, but because it was a Cressida, it had 4 doors, and I feel like cops didn't really look at it. It was like the stock, like, I don't know, gray gunmetal color with a sick Serial 9 pinstripe.
Yeah.
You guys should do that again, because the pinstripes are cool.
Those are
They're
pretty cool.
Pain in the ass to put on though. The vinyl guy was like pretty choked because there's like little fluff getting caught in all the little, like, I don't know, spider webby. It's not spider web. That's a horrible way to describe it. So like I like was racing this guy from high school that had a Crown Vic, and he insulted the Cressida. He basically just called it super slow and whatever. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna fuck this guy up. And then so I didn't race. I wasn't like I was like totally a drift guy. Like nobody ever raced me. And so I like hammered off the line. And then like, I don't know, 10 seconds later, there's a fucking cop behind me that I don't even know where he came from. And decibel gun. Yeah, it was like the beginning of the end, because I got like 3 box 1 VIs where they actually take the vehicle. I got like 3 in like 3 months, and then I was like, you know what, fuck this car's gone. I'm done with this. So then I like went traveling in like India, Southeast Asia, yada yada, rode some scooters, rode like a 125cc bike, and I was like, oh, bikes are like pretty sick. And like I never had any interest in motorcycles growing up. I was always a car guy. I always had toy cars. And so yeah, got into bikes, came back and bought a 72 Honda CB 350 4-cylinder.
That thing sounded sick.
Yeah, it was like same thing, like just I don't know, like just like a straight exhaust. But I actually went with Kevin. We went to like an estate sale. So I guess like somebody died and was selling 8 motorcycles. And I didn't really know anything about bikes. I just knew that I wanted a Honda. And I kind of knew that I was maybe thinking about like a little cafe racer. So I was like, all right, I'll get a Honda. I can get parts. And there was like 8 bikes there. And I was like, oh, like, yeah, that's the one that I want right there. And we took Kevin's arborist truck and like lifted it like 4 feet into the back of the truck, and like on its side probably, honestly, because it had just been sitting for 20 years, and drove it back. And I'd never worked on a carburetor. I'd never touched a bike. And so I just started taking it apart and sort of running, and then I had to bring it to you, and I had to bring it to you to finish the wiring.
Yeah, some wiring stuff.
It was a 72, so there's like 6 wires in the whole bike, and I couldn't figure out the wiring. Because I remember I was like, man, this thing seems really slow. Like, what's going on with this? And it was like it was running really hot, and then I figured out, or you figured out, somebody figured out that it was only running on 2 cylinders, and I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense why it's so slow. I can't go faster than like 60 kilometers an hour, and the motor is like extremely hot.
Yeah.
I was like, is this how hot an air-cooled engine gets? I still have it. It's in the like living room here.
Oh, you still have that thing?
Yeah, man. It's it's the project that never ends. I like it smoked so much. It had such low compression that I could kick it over with my hand, and I would do that sometimes just as like a joke, not aware that like kickback from like a kickstart motorcycle could have like broken my wrist, right? But like such low compression that people riding behind me in groups would say that, like, ask me if it was a 2-stroke because it smoked so much, right? And it's
I remember. Yeah, I remember when you first got that thing running, and we'd be cruising around downtown and stuff, and I'd be like, man, that thing sounds so sick, but it would always be followed by a huge trail of smoke, but it would sound rad and go nowhere.
Had a backpack, and he had to keep a huge container of oil in the backpack.
Yeah, I did.
At all times.
A 1-liter jug of like Lordco like garbage oil, because I knew that it would just burn away. So I would just buy like the cheapest oil. And then one day I like didn't put the cap on properly, and then like there's like oil in the backpack. So then I had to go buy another jug.
And another backpack.
Another backpack.
No. I kept that backpack for a long time because I felt like I didn't deserve a new backpack. So that was like my motorcycle riding. It always had like 8 mil, 10 mil, 12 mil, 14. Like it had tools and oil, and I would never ride that bike without that backpack.
That's hilarious.
It was just like this disgusting monstrosity, right?
It's super funny that that's a Honda and it burns oil, because literally that's like a common theme. Every Honda just like sounds sick but burns a shit ton of oil.
All right. So how old were you when you got into motorcycles?
25, I would say.
And you're Kevin's age, so that
so I'm 35 now. So like about 10 years. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. Basically, I was messing around with the bike. I was riding it. I loved it. That thing revved to 10,000 RPM. It sounded awesome because it was just like a 4-into-1 exhaust, no baffling, no muffler, nothing. And like, it would make my ears bleed. It was a super noisy bike. My ears would ring once I got off of it. And I actually ended up wearing earplugs with it. And then I realized that wasn't the best idea because I couldn't hear anything around me. And I was like, I'm pretty exposed on a motorcycle. Like you're just kind of out there in the middle of traffic. So being able to hear is kind of important. So I stopped doing that. And yeah, so I don't know. After that, I had, what did I get after that? Like I had a little like Honda Shadow 600, like a VLX 600. So it's like a, what is it?
Next.
It's like, yeah, that was sick. You don't like that bike? That thing was
Is that
sick.
the one with like no fender forever?
Yeah, no fender. Okay, so it was a pretty haggard like budget. The whole thing probably cost me like $2,000 for the bike. Like I put white walls on it and like hardtailed it like properly. It had a monoshock in the rear, so I just pulled out the monoshock and then put in like a steel rod basically that I drilled 2 holes into.
I just remember like sitting on that bike and being like, the wheel is right there. And you're like, yeah, man, the wheel's right there. I'm like, so the wheel going like 70, 80, 90K is like 2 inches behind
From your
your
ass.
butt, just doing that. And you're like, yep. And I'm like, okay.
With no fender. Yeah, that's like, dude,
Yeah.
part of
Your
the
shirt, your backpack, like you're like anything, your entire body, like
yeah, I mean, I still do it. I bring like a snapback hat. I put it through my belt loop on
Yeah.
the left side. And the hats would always get on the brim, on the bill, they would wear through because they would touch the tire as I'm going. Right. And so I thought that was sick because I'd have all these like fucked up hats. And I was like, oh man, this is like a badge of honor. Yeah, it is kind of cool,
Yeah.
right?
I've seen Kevin's old hat collection now, so now I know what Kevin thinks is cool hats. So
A 70s Toyota hat from Value Village is like peak Kevin hat. But yeah, anyway, so that was like a little chopper thing that I had, like, you know, like little mini apes and whatever. It was a fun bike, but it was a 4-speed. So the VLX 600, they made it for 20 years, and the only thing they really changed on, I think it was like they stopped making it in 2007, I think. But the only thing they changed was they went from single carb to dual carb. So it had a 4-speed, like all the way through the production run. Yeah, it wasn't the best on the highway, but you know, you don't ride a hard-tailed like little chopper bike because you want it to be comfortable or because it's you know, like fuel efficient or anything. You just ride it. So when you're riding downtown and you go by like some glass building and you look at yourself, you go, yo, I look cool as shit. Like I'm fucking boss of the Honda Shadow, right? So
I was about to ask, why? What does any of this mean, and why do you do it? And I guess that answers the question.
So for me, 50% of motorcycling is looking cool, and the other 50% is having fun. And if you're like not, you know, if you're not doing those things, then if you don't care about looking cool on a motorcycle, then like, yeah, then you're riding like an adventure bike, which is fine. They have their, you know, I had an adventure bike. They're cool. You can go camping and stuff, but like that's full function and zero fashion, right?
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So how many motorbikes have you had?
So after that, I had like a DRZ 400, like a little mini adventure bike thing that I had, and then now I have a Royal Enfield. So
how many different motorcycles would you think you've ridden?
I don't know, like maybe like 50. Like I would try and ride when I worked at a Harley Davidson dealership, and when I worked there, I would try and take out as many of the pre-owned bikes as possible just to ride them, because I'm not really brand loyal. I just like various modes of transportation, and would always just like try and just ride whatever I could, right? So yeah, I've ridden a lot of different bikes.
What's your favorite bike that you've ever ridden?
God, that's a tough one. I don't know, man. It's honestly probably the like whatever bike I own at the time, because the bikes that I have, I do really enjoy until I stop enjoying them, and then they're gone and I get something else.
So your current bike is your favorite bike that you've ever owned. That's fair to say.
Right now, yes.
Yeah, good. What's your least favorite bike? So I guess by that equation, it actually has to be your first bike would have to be your least favorite bike.
That's the one he still has, though.
No, but
yeah,
I still
he
have
still
that
has
one.
it. Fuck
Yeah.
All right. So before we keep going, Gerard, you currently have a motorcycle, which I feel like you should just stop riding, never ride again.
I do have a motorcycle. Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
basically hasn't ridden in a year anyway. So
I haven't. Yeah, it's been a bit.
Okay, good. Don't ride it. I don't want you getting on that motorcycle. Kevin, you also have a motorcycle.
yes, I also do.
50% you can ride your motorcycle.
Thanks.
You
So I don't know
have
that.
to-
I don't know if that means that you care about me 50% less, but that's how I feel.
Well, I like you
That's-
both equally. It's just Gerard's got way more to lose.
No, that sounds like you like him 50% less.
Yeah, that's what I
You
heard.
care about him
Yeah.
50% less.
Mm.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
guys, no, that's not it.
And you
This
care
isn't
about
a-
Matt Zero.
Yeah.
No,
you didn't
I was
even
going to say,
mention me.
look, Matt and I have barely ever talked, so I was going to give him
Yeah.
a 25 per, like he's got a 25%.
25.
And like,
Yeah.
and you're very into it. I don't want to take away your hopes and dreams. Like, man, come on. What I do
All right.
want to know, okay, so everyone's experience, Gerard, your current bike is what type of bike?
It's a GSXR 600, 1998. So it's the last of the carbureted ones, and it's the S-Rad. So I kind of wanted like an older bike that was kind of interesting.
Of course you did.
Well, no, I was looking at 80s bikes. I wanted to build something. I wanted to build something kind of cool, like sort of cafe, sort of naked, sort of like 80s, like a weird like Mad Max kind of looking thing.
The film part of me wants to know when you say Mad Max, which Mad Max film do you want? Like Thunderdome or like
I don't know, the original, like anything that looks crazy. It's black. It's kind of just like fucked up looking.
So
And,
Matt, to me, Road Warrior is always the one.
is that
but
the first one?
The
That's
first
the
one
second.
is just Mad Max, and
It's
it's like
just Mad
straight
Max.
Australian.
Dude, I can't remember that
Yeah,
far
and
back.
then
Dude,
it-
Mad Max is from like 1986 or something.
I know. I've watched them all. It goes
Okay,
Mad
well,
Max, Mad Max Road
Thunderdome,
Warrior.
or then it's Road Warrior.
Thunderdome.
Road.
And then Beyond, and is it Beyond Thunderdome, or is that the one it was called?
Yeah. It's like, and then Tina Turner's in it, and they sing "We Don't Want Another Hero" or whatever.
And then that last one was Fury Road.
Yeah, and that one's
I mean,
great.
they're all crazy, man. Like anything from any Mad Max is basically like looks
The
ridiculous.
first Mad Max isn't that crazy. It's pretty like low budget and not.
No, the first Mad Max is kind of like almost like a normal movie.
Wasn't
Yeah.
that movie out of like New Zealand or something? And they had
Well,
all those weird
Australia,
Holdens?
but yeah,
yeah,
so-
and they had those weird Holdens, and that's
Yeah.
why it was a bit weird. Okay, yeah, because I was like,
Well,
remember
I-
the cars?
I'm really
I
gonna
think,
just.
I think the whole series is.
Well, he loses the Holden in Road Warrior because it's the last of the V8 Interceptors. Mad Max was a highway
Man,
patrol.
Seems like you know a lot about this. series.
You guys, I love Mad Max.
Okay,
if we
well,
can
then-
make this podcast about Mad
Yeah.
Max, I'm on board. But it
Yes.
can't be.
I'm on.
Maybe
I'm
you'll like my
down.
motorcycle a little bit more now. Then
No, I wanted you to say as soon as it's
I
like,
don't
what kind
know.
of motorcycle do you have? I wanted just to be like Death Trap. Your motorcycle is a death trap.
No, you're like you need a giant clear fairing to be like Mad Max, the first one.
Well, I was
Yeah.
just like, because what I envision in my head is basically kind of like square headlights, super low, kind of long, and like just weird body work. Not cafe racer, but like somehow you manage it to like look sort of cool. But it's underneath. It's like a sport bike because it needs to be fast and have like good brakes and shit. This bike came up. It was a GSXR, but it was a naked bike, so it was kind of cheap, but it was also kind of like looked like it was well taken care of. It had like a short carbon Yoshi pipe, like heat wrap. But yeah, it's a GSXR 600, so it's pretty fast. I mean, it's only a 600, so it's not that fast, but it's definitely fast enough to fucking kill you.
Hold on. That's saying, oh, it's only a 600. It's not that fast. That's something that like people say about motorcycles. Like you can have like 300s that are super fast. Like
Oh yeah,
just, like,
no. I just meant like as far as the GSXR, like there's a 750, there's like 1100. Like this is the smallest of the GSXRs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's still like a 600cc like
Sport bike.
street bike.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
at the time of this bike coming out, it was like a top of the line 600cc sport bike.
So would you say that it's not fast?
No, I think it's plenty fast for me.
Okay.
end of the day-
plenty fast for your family.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
like
yeah.
the
At
best,
the end of
the
the
best
day,
thing about Gerard's bike is it has no fairings and it's flat black. And when he got it, it had like brass knuckles spray painted on the radiator.
Yeah.
And yeah, like
It
it's
basically looks like a
it's hilarious looking bike.
Really? You think it's hilarious looking? I don't know.
No,
It looks like
Dude, it's
looks
so
like-
funny, man.
it looks like a stunt bike, but like somehow like less stunt You know what I mean? Like,
Well, the tank isn't hammered. It's in better condition than a stunt bike. To me, stunt bikes are like
no, for sure.
Right.
I'm just saying the overall look. Like, if it had higher bars and like a cage, it would fully just like, and then yeah, like it just looked like a stunt bike.
If it had a
Hmm.
cage, and like a 300 mil whatever, like rear
Sprocket.
sprocket, like
Yeah, like it just looks like
Yeah.
that, except not. Like it's got polished wheels and like you know what I mean? So
None of this has sold me on me wanting you to go anywhere near it. Anyway, Kevin, you have a motorcycle, and it is a
yeah.
it is
It's
a
DRZ 400, which is also a Suzuki. Basically, street legal dirt bike, but mine's the SM, so it's the Supermoto. So it has a larger front brake and a couple other things, and it comes with 17-inch wheels front and back instead of 21-inch wheels in the front, and it comes with like street tires, Supermoto tires.
sounds
you got
boring.
You got that for
Like-
sweet jumps, or what do you do with this thing? Like, I don't understand this. So
Bro, does it
I mean,
rip?
I don't know. Does it rip? Yeah, I don't know. It's super fun. I don't know. I've heard a lot of people
Alright.
describe it as the slowest but funnest bike they've ever owned.
Yeah, I'd say that's
So
accurate.
I don't know.
It's like
It's a 400cc single cylinder, 40 horsepower, like tractor, kind of go anywhere type of motorcycle. But yeah, I don't know. It is a shit ton of fun.
it's slower than Gerard's bike.
It's
Oh,
way
yeah.
slower. It tops out at like 140k.
That's why I feel a little bit better about you driving this.
Kevin can like go up and down stairs, whereas like Gerard's bike, I feel like you could do it, but like like you could do it.
Yeah,
But
you
how
probably don't
comfortable
want
would it be, right?
to. Yeah, you probably don't want to.
Maybe there's the issue too. You know what I mean? It's like I can do all these things, so thus I try to do them, and that makes it much more unsafe than if I was just riding around.
Why are you trying to
putting
make me
around
worry
on a
about you? I
motorcycle.
don't understand. I don't want any of this.
He's trying
Yeah.
to get from 50% to 100%.
Well,
Okay.
also,
Pulled
Exactly,
into, You're up to
exactly.
65%
By
now.
the end of the podcast, I need you to be like, Kevin, you can never ride again.
Ride your bike again.
Yeah.
I'm taking it away from you.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
Hang on though.
I mean-
The other I want to say this now because we probably won't come back to it. The other thing that I enjoy that Kevin's into is scooters.
Yeah, everybody's
That's
into
the-
scooters.
Yeah.
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 So
Yeah.
Matt, do you have a scooter?
I don't have a scooter, but I like think that they're like pretty cool. Like they're cheap. They're super cheap on gas and insurance, right? They're cheap to get into. And they're just like it's more fun to ride a slow little scooter fast at 10 out of 10 than it is to ride a sport bike slowly, right? I see people riding.
Yep.
I don't know,
brand
man.
new-
First gear, 11,000 RPM down Robson, pretty fucking fun.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, all right. Like,
That's not fun. That's like stunting.
Stunning's fun, bro. Like, what do you mean? Like,
That's like okay, like that's like saying like being at the car show and stunting your sick car is more fun than like being at the drift event and driving. Like,
but I don't
no.
think driving a fucking 5 horsepower scooter that can't even go over bumps is fucking fun. Like,
Yeah,
so-
but the reason you don't like it is because you would look like Donkey Kong in like Mario Kart.
Everybody looks like Donkey Kong on a fucking scooter.
You're too big for a scooter.
Everybody looks like Donkey Kong. man.
No.
No,
This
no,
might have
no.
been the best Gerard burn I've ever heard. Not everybody else looks like Donkey Kong on there. I might look like Bowser, but, you know.
I think it's pretty difficult to have a 6'3" person ride a scooter and have like style and like look cool. You know.
Well,
what
I don't.
Like,
I mean, okay, like I'm into. I like scooters too. I just don't particularly like those type of scooters.
what type of?
I-
you
I-
like fast scooters, right?
Yeah, I mean, for me, if I'm gonna ride something, okay, so like let's start with this. I'm probably the
So you
most.
want an Aprilia?
Yeah.
No. I'm probably the most into bikes out of all of us, right? Like I've ride BMX, I got mountain bikes, I got fucking
Oh, you
road
mean
bikes.
bicycles? I was
Bicycles, right?
Confused.
So for
I
me,
was
the
like, why do we
two-wheeled-
have Matt on?
No, I'm saying like for the 2-wheeled like thrill, like Kevin's like, oh, go downstairs and all this stuff. Like, you know what I mean? I ride BMX, I would just jump the 10 set or whatever you want to call it, right? So that's my
I've
2-wheeled
never
thrill.
seen you jump 10 set in my life.
Well, you've gone biking like twice with me.
All right. I
There's
don't want
that.
to actually fight about bicycles now. This would be the
But anyways-
weirdest thing.
So for me, if I'm going to ride a motorized 2-wheel vehicle, I want it to be fast. So if it's going to be a scooter, it's going to be like like a, I don't know, like in Bali, I rode like a 155 NMAX, and it was fun as shit. Like pull wheelies, it does like 120. You could ride 2 people on it comfortably and like blast around. You've probably ridden one.
Okay, so I actually haven't ridden like a fast scooter, right? I was riding like $3 a day rental scooters.
This is still
like
$3 a day rental, man. I mean, there's millions.
But no,
of them
you went to Indonesia though, right? That was
I went to Indonesia. Yeah,
so it's a little more developed than like some of the like Cambodia, you know what I mean?
That's true. That's
so but okay, so I understand that. What do you think of Miatas? Because to me a scooter is like a Miata. Like, yeah, okay, it's not super powerful, but it handles well. It's fun to drive, or like an FRS, right? So
I could probably get down with the latest model Miata, the one that kind of looks like it has flares, and it came with 17s and 5-bolt. But any other Miata, I would just be like, no thanks.
No, but you're going purely on appearance, right? I'm talking about
I also I can't really.
That's how Gerard. That's fully him with scooters too, though.
Yeah, I guess so. Okay.
Only the newest model, most current level of scooter would be sufficient.
No, that's not true at all. It's just like, I don't want to fucking sit there and sand bodywork and like chop springs and shit. I just want to ride the fucking thing. Like I want it to be fun.
Yeah, but you're talking about like the whatever Gensuke style of like having like the 80s like 49cc scooter with the like body kits and wings. Like I don't really think.
I mean,
Matt
those scooters can also
talk-
have that, but it's just not quite as popular. I mean, there's NMAX is one of the most modified scooters in the whole wide world. So like, you know what I mean? Like it's just a different style.
It's a 125, you said?
It's a 155.
155. Okay. So I mean, I guess there's that like 600cc scooter.
Yeah, that's the Bergman.
Right?
The Bergman.
Yeah.
That's like a full-out motorbike. Those things are crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I think they've got a 400 and a 600cc version.
650, right? I think it is actually. Yeah, it's fucked.
Like a 650 V-twin or something.
But yeah, I don't know. I think they're cool. I like them, but I don't really think it's that. Like I've ridden one and I was just like, yo, like I don't want to fucking get down with this. It's like, it has like 2 horsepower. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't think it's that fun. So
I will say I'm the opposite of Gerard. I don't have any allegiance to any of this shit, but the only thing that's remotely enticing to me is like Kevin's scooter shit that he's into. I'm like, yeah, all right. That seems like I won't orphan my child.
So honestly, it's honestly like the most fun per dollar I've probably had. It's like you can find something that you like, you can like go and modify the living shit out of it and find all these weird, rare, cool parts and like do everything you possibly could and maybe spend $5,000. Like you can't even get into like modifying the car game for $5,000, you know?
Yeah.
Like $5,000 is wheels. $5,000 is a
fucking
penny.
bike. You can ride a mountain bike.
Yeah,
Why would you
totally.
ride
But
a mountain
that's
bike
not
on
like
the street?
that's
silly,
not like
Gerard.
a mod. You can't rev the shit out of your mountain bike and annoy the person on the sidewalk.
I mean, if you're into annoying people, sure, I guess you can't do that.
Also, the bicycle scene is super
Dude, like,
expensive.
your
I don't know
car-
if we're
like-
talking
like-
about it like it isn't.
Yeah, you can easily spend $5,000 on a bicycle.
You could easily spend more than $5,000 on a bicycle.
Yeah, for sure.
And the other part that I like, but I don't think I'd ever ride one, might be controversial. I like Honda Ruckuses. Like I think they're cool.
That's
when
a
people
scooter.
want them.
Same fucking thing.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I'd ride one. I think
Yeah,
I'd
because you look like you're taking a shit 24/7.
all right. Just let's all have a good time, Gerard.
I never thought about that, but 100% you do. It's got
Yeah. You're sitting on a toilet.
Yeah,
That's how you look so weird.
Exactly.
100%. They do look cool. And it's funny, Ryan, because I was going to specifically ask you what you thought of like ruckuses and seeing a group of like 20 grown men riding around on ruckai together. I think that's the plural of ruckus is ruckai. Because I think they're kind of like, I don't think I'd ever own one because again, you're sinking $5-6 grand into a ruckus to get it to look sick. And then you could just buy a sick motorcycle. Or you could buy,
that's about it for me too.
That was
Like,
it for me too. Exactly.
I get it. Like what Kevin's into, you could do for a reasonable amount of money, and I wouldn't have to give up my like car hobby. And I feel like if you were to go into motorcycles, you could easily go full into motorcycles and just give up on cars. I don't know. So and it also
that's fully a thing. So like when Matt and I were growing up and Matt and I were getting into cars, and Matt and I were going to our like first couple of car shops that we, would frequent and be loyal to. That was one of the things they said, that they were like losing a lot of their car friends to getting motorcycles, and the minute they got a motorcycle, like that was it for them and modifying cars.
The one adage that always sticks around in the back of my head whenever someone's like, I bought a motorcycle, and they were like a car guy, I was like, whatever, you guys might get mad at this, but it was like the saying, it's like motorcycles are for car guys that can't make cars go fast. I don't know if you've ever heard that, but that was like the thing.
No,
is,
I had never heard that.
Yeah, it's motorcycles are for car guys that can't make cars go fast.
I've never heard that.
That must be a Regina thing.
It might be a Saskatchewan thing, but that was just the thing. And so part of that sticks in my head. And then motorcycle culture to me is very tied to kind of more American culture. Like, you have Easy Rider and all that shit. And
yeah,
the scooter stuff still ties to like Japanese car culture to me a bit. And so I can see, like, I can draw the line between the two. So it's kind of like in my peripheral of what I might be into. But motorcycles are like Greek to me. They might as well be USDM cars, or, like, it's just, I can't draw the line between them.
And for me, it's kind of like one of those things, right? Like I love engines. I love, mechanical things. I love speed. And it's like, I used to have, a Honda that was turbocharged and this and that. And now my life's basically filled with like JZs. And I was like, well, shit, I want like a high revving 4-cylinder screaming NA engine. And it's like, well, you could either build that for fucking $5,000 or $7,000 in like a, K series, but then you got to put it in a car and all this other shit. Or you could just buy a $2,000 motorbike. It revs to 13,000. It's a 600 cc. It makes probably 70 or 80 horsepower or whatever it may make, and it goes fast as fuck. Like the slowest motorbike is faster than most cars. Like, I
feel like you just did the longest way possible to say the thing that I said about like.
Yeah, except I have fast cars.
No, so I know.
Like, you know what I mean?
It's like yeah. But you put that in, you drop that in for anyone else, and you just
absolutely
did the long-winded version of what I was saying.
It's the fastest way to fucking die. That's for sure. Like you want like
agreed.
Like a 170K, 180K creeps up on the bike, like that. Like you're just like bah. Whoa, shit! Like that's 170. Like, okay, maybe slow down. Like, you know what I mean? And my bike's slow.
All right. Does everyone have like a dream bike? Is that a thing that you guys have? Like, I don't know. This is also foreign.
Yeah, for sure.
So if I was unlimited budget, how much would that budget have to be?
Maybe like 20 grand.
20 grand on a bike, or do you need
$2,500?
Yeah. How much do you need? I don't even know what the pricing of these things are. What do you need? How many?
It's weird. I will say that one thing about motorcycles is they kind of like plateau in value, where they like will never go cheaper than a certain amount.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, it seems like 2,000 to like 1,500. It's like you can never ever find a bike cheaper than that.
Unless it's fucked up. Like, unless it's like Dodge
exactly.
or like,
exactly. But
like a running, driving, insurable motorcycle. Yeah, exactly.
All right.
But I mean, they're pretty cheap. They're pretty cheap, Ryan. Like my bike.
But like, that's the thing. It's like, okay, so you're going to go buy a Ruckus.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is $4,000.
Yeah.
Or you could get a bike that has 4 times the motor for $1,500. It doesn't really make sense to go buy that
weird.
Ruckus.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, that's not how I make my decisions, though, right? Like that's
no.
Like,
but I mean, like
it's what gets my motor going to get that motor going,
Oh, so you don't have any financial constraints? Okay, I get it.
What am I?
That seems to be
must be nice to be Ryan.
It's not like I have a Ruckus. It's not like I have anything. What would be your ideal motorcycle? What's your pick? Or are you all driving the bike?
I have a couple. I have probably 2.
Go.
It would basically be like sort of like this hybrid. So it's like a GSXR sort of drag looking bike. But it's kind of like customized to sort of look less drag, but like more show. I don't know. It's just kind of like, there's this one bike that I saw a while ago. I don't know where it was built, but it was basically like an earlier GSXR. It had all like new shit on it, kind of like that low, long drag look, but it was just like super sick. And then the other one is similar. It's like a cafe racer style, but like a bit of a drag look. It's like a Triumph I don't know, would be like a street twin or speed twin modified type of bike. Two totally different types of motorcycle, but like they both kind of have that common theme of like low and long. Yeah.
All right, Matt, if you were Gerard and money was no problem, no obstacle, no object, what bike would you have?
Well, so for me, bikes have always been, there is no one bike that does everything. It's not like buying like a pickup truck or something where you can do all this stuff with it, right? It's a very versatile vehicle. Motorcycles are far more specialized, right? And so I've always been under the train of thought, I guess, where there's 7 days in a week and you need 7 different types of motorcycle. You need 7 different bikes, right? For different things. And bikes are like, if you're buying used motorcycles, you can get kind of like a stable of bikes for relatively inexpensive. For
10-15 grand, you'd have a bunch of bikes for sure.
Yeah, you get a bunch of bikes, right? So so I don't know, I mean, like after working at Harley, like I never was a Harley guy. I've never owned an American vehicle of any type, and I started working at Harley and thought, okay, this is kind of weird. I'm half Japanese and I'm like,
that's pretty common though, Harley.
Yeah, right. So but for
must
me,
be on your mom's side because it's not on the dad's side because Kevin's not half Japanese.
Yeah, exactly, right. But yeah, like after working at Harley, like I learned, I like to, okay, this is actually kind of cool. Some of these bikes are pretty sweet, and riding a motorcycle with a 1800, I think it's 1863 cc engine. They've got bigger ones now. They've got like a 131 cubic inch kit, but anyways, like they're fast as shit, man, right? They've got so much torque, and it's almost to the point where you're commuting to work on like a 900-pound giant bagger, like a road glide or a street glide, 20 minutes, and it's annoying. Like you're riding this behemoth bike, but once you get out on the highway, if it's your day off or something, you can just ride 1,000 kilometers, no problem. You've got like full wind protection, speakers, like, navigation and stuff. Like that's a kind of motorcycling that I think I would get into if there's no budget. Or even like a Goldwing. Goldwings definitely aren't cool, but every Harley rider that I knew that had a Goldwing at some point, and either they traded it in to get their Harley, or they still have the Goldwing and they had a little bobber or something. They said that the Goldwing was a superior motorcycle, but it just has no soul, right? It's too good. It doesn't. They go to start it up in the springtime. It's been sitting for 6 months. And it starts, no problem. There's no hiccups, nothing.
And they're choked. Yeah,
it's the NSX of motorcycles.
Yeah, right. And then they go to fire up their Harley, which is like not that old, and like, oh, it's got to go into a dealer for service, right? So
surprise.
Yeah, it's selling warranties at warranty packages at a Harley Davidson dealership is a good job. I recommend it to anybody. It's very, very ethically easy. You're doing a good thing.
You're helping people out. Sainthood. Kevin, what motorbike would you buy if you were Gerard and money was no object, no obstacle? What would you get?
Yes, idiots.
I kind of feel like I'd be on the tune of Matt, where it's like, well, I mean, if I can have all the bikes, why wouldn't I have all the bikes?
Yeah, that makes sense. So as soon as Matt said that, I was like, yes, Kevin's shitbox theory.
Well, what's the Toyota?
Well, I mean, I don't know. Like it'd be sweet to have like a 250 2-stroke dirt bike to go play around with, and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's like, you're not going to want to ride that on the highway. So yeah, it would be cool to, I don't know, like, I think those like old school baggers are super cool that have the like 21-inch front wheel. That's super sick. I don't know. I like cafe racers. Like the one thing I'm like not super into is, I guess, sport bikes. Like that's not totally my jam. I don't need to go 380 kilometers an hour.
But you want to.
This is why I put you at. That's why you're at 50%. Maybe it's because I thought you were more responsible than Gerard.
Well, maybe that's why. Maybe you should ask when we got into motorcycles. That's like precisely why.
No. I want now you guys to pick a motorcycle for somebody, because I usually have to answer these questions.
Let me add one more. Let me add one more bike. Can I add one more bike since we're talking? Since obviously the sky's the limit, I would have a chopper. I would have like a sick old, like an actual Harley that was like, fully custom. I used to watch all those chopper build offs and stuff, and like, man, like there were so many bikes. I was like, that's like the coolest thing in the world. And then the next one would come out, and you'd be like, that's the coolest thing in the world. And like easily one of those bikes, I'd just be like, yeah, this is the coolest thing in the world. And
I used to watch those shows too, and I don't
so
know.
Like the creativity on some of those bikes, and like Billy Lane and shit with the like hubless wheel. I was just like, man, what the fuck?
Yeah.
This is so cool. Like any of those bikes, man, those are so dope.
All right. I usually give an answer, but I can't give an answer. So now one of you has to answer for me. What bike would I have?
Yeah, what he said, Ninja 250. It's a great bike.
What's that? I got to Google it. Okay.
It's like the best.
That's like the best
bike.
beginner bike. That's what that was the first bike that I had recently.
Yeah, that bike's whack.
Yeah,
Why
very
is it
whack.
whack?
It's fucking whack as bike.
shit. Yeah,
because it's fucking slow. It's like low and small. It feels like a toy bike. Like it was funny.
it is a toy bike.
They were like, "Yo, do your road test on this," and I rode it for like 2 seconds. I'm like, I can't even fucking ride this thing.
Dude, you're too big for that bike.
Yeah, it's definitely.
But then would that sell me on motorbikes? Like that's the thing. It's like if you had to tell me to get a motorcycle to sell me on motorcycles, is that what it would sell me? Or would I get
honestly,
on it?
yeah.
Like, does that have
I
to be
think
a
it would.
motorcycle? Can it be something like even easier to ride?
I don't know, man.
Because I would say honestly, like if you would hop on one of those scooters, like a relatively fast, you just hop on the thing and shred, and it's the easiest thing in the world. Anybody in the world can ride it, and then get you on two wheels and like doing bike type stuff, and then you could decide on a motorcycle after. Like the NMAX is fucking faster than that 250 by far.
Honestly, though, like I was way more into motorcycles way before scooters. Like, I don't know that to me that scooter is a stepping stone. To me, it's like a landing pad. You're gonna get Ryan onto a scooter, and he's gonna.
But that's a
sit there,
different
and
scooter, right?
He's never gonna make that leap.
I don't think so, man. Because you can't ride a scooter as a commuter here. Like, I mean, you can, but like you're doing something. You're like a certain type of person that commutes here on a scooter.
Yeah, but like you live in Langley, you have to cross a fucking bridge on a highway. Like
that's what I'm saying.
Ryan's got to go 14K down like a street that you can't even go 40 kilometers. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
maybe
like,
for him it would totally work. I mean, there's tons of Vespas downtown for sure.
I feel
yeah,
like
but Vespa makes a 250. Like,
yeah, it probably shreds.
yeah,
feel
exactly.
like-
That's what I mean. So like, you can have a 125 or a 250 Vespa, and like, I just don't. Yeah, like that's what I mean. It's like once you can just pull the throttle and not do anything, it's kind of it's fully a different experience than like straddling it and actually riding it. It's very different.
So hang on. So knowing what you know about me, where I live, and the donuts that I bring you, and the degree that I have from university, no part of you is like he might be a bit of a hipster and really enjoy.
I would say
cafe
more like
or-
Matt's bike, something more like Matt's bike for sure. At least that style of bike would
feel like
definitely
I should have got
suit
Matt
Ryan
to
more.
ask this question. Matt has been singing
Yeah.
my song all day. He's got a 240 that's painted himself. Everything.
Well,
you guys
What's
are out here
an
giving me
entry level
best
bike like that, man?
So Eric Weber loved Matt's bike so much after riding it for like 30 minutes that he immediately put his bike up for sale.
It was
sold
an
it,
SV
and
SV nine
bought
or
Matt's
1100.
bike like within like 3 days.
Yeah, he was. I dropped off at the dealership. I picked him up from the dealership today.
Yeah.
He got like the same tires except didn't get white walls. But yeah, it's a Royal Enfield 650 Interceptor. It's like super fun, cheap. I got it for like $6,000 Canadian. It's like fun as shit.
Brand new.
Brand new. Yeah.
If it makes you any more happy, Ryan, I am sort of trying to change my motorcycle.
To what?
Something a little bit more, I don't know, like docile, if you will, but also something that I could take my wife on a lot easier.
Yeah. And you got a family to take care of, Gerard. That thing too. So, safety first, maybe. You're not getting any younger, you gotta.
But
I mean,
I T-Rex. Just get rid of the bike and a T-Rex. Okay?
Fuck
Yeah,
me.
exactly.
Yeah,
I
get that
waited.
thing.
Okay. So
Dude,
I waited.
I would take a T-Rex so much over one of those like Can-Am
Oh, the
things.
spiders.
Like any of those other ones.
I don't know anything about any of those fucking things.
Because a T-Rex, you sit in the seat, don't you?
I think it's got a steering wheel. I think it's like actually like
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think there's a seat and a steering wheel.
Is that
Yeah,
those
yeah.
things
It's like
that
a
they rent out in Miami?
No, it's like Rough Riders.
Yeah, that's like things they rent out in Miami.
No, that's the Can-Am. Like I'm thinking.
Sure.
The T-Rex Rough
Yeah.
Riders. Yeah, why didn't you sell me on that? That's an easy one,
This
man.
is not a fucking motorcycle, dude.
That's not a motorcycle at all.
How dare you disrespect the memory
hey.
of DMX?
You guys, I hate to break it to you, but technically, legally, in British Columbia, those are motorcycles. You need to have a motorcycle license and wear a helmet.
No, you don't. Because if you pass your test driving one of those, that does not allow you to drive a two-wheeled motorcycle. And if you pass your test on a vehicle that has a two-wheel motorcycle that has an automatic transmission, it does not allow you to drive a full motorcycle either.
Okay, all right.
And if you pass your test on a 125, such as a Grom, you're not allowed to drive anything bigger than a 250.
All right.
But if you pass on a 250, you can drive anything.
Thanks for the lesson.
Hey, you guys, that's it for me.
Yeah. You, Matt.
I'll talk to you guys later.
Matt, this is my problem every week. Gerard is like, like sky is the limit, blue skies guy over there. And then Kevin's just fucking spewing out facts that I can't argue with. And it's just like, all right, I see where this is going and where I have to be. All right. So car guys get into motorcycles. What is the draw then? If it's not what I said earlier, what's the draw for a car guy to go to a motorcycle?
It's fun as shit.
It's super fucking
fun
fun
as shit.
So my situation, I guess I would probably say is like I stayed away from motorcycles for fucking ever because I was like,
yeah, I'm proud of you.
I was like, I know myself. I'm already fucking an idiot in a car. Like I cannot have a motorcycle. Not a chance. I don't trust myself. I'm not responsible enough. I'm not like there's no way I can have a motorcycle. So that was my thing for years and years and years. And then I feel like I grew up a bit and stuff. So then I only got a motorcycle when I was like 40. Shit, I don't know. I was like 40 something. And I was like, okay, you know what? Like I got a kid. I can probably not kill myself now because I'm not going to like try to do fucking wheelies down the highway or like drift my motorcycle or something stupid like that. So yeah, I got a motorcycle at that age and I ride it fairly responsibly. I don't try to do top speed runs or like I don't think it's cool to like, fucking max out my bike or something like that. I just think it like kind of looks cool. It's sort of fun. But yeah, when I ride my motorcycle, I always think, man, I could have been doing this years and years and years sooner. Like it is just so fun. Like sometimes you're just like riding down some road and you're just like seeing all the scenery and like going through the gears and like it's a total experience. It infinitely different from cars, of course, obviously, but like yeah, it's if you haven't done it, you probably just should do it even at least once.
Yes, that's very interesting. I need you to repeat all of that because I was busy writing your eulogy. So just one more time.
It feels like a cliche, but it's like a super like freeing experience. Like
Totally.
you're riding around and then like the minute you come close to like a body of water, all of a sudden you feel it. And like you drive by something like you drive by a pulp mill and you can like smell the cedar and it's just everything's like you feel so much more in the environment. And one other thing is like when you're in your car, like maybe you're like, oh, my seatbelt over there is all twisted, or like I'm gonna change the stereo, or like, oh, the vent is blowing on my face. It's like when you're on your motorcycle, you're literally just like riding your motorcycle and paying attention to what you need to be paying attention to, and like you're not thinking about all of this other garbage. It feels bad to say, but like when you're this level of driver and you've been driving for so long and you care about driving so much, driving is super easy. Like
yeah,
driving the speed limit
oh fuck
is ridiculously hard.
Yeah, it's super boring. It's like monotonous. It's tedious.
So when you're driving your motorcycle, like you're actually back in that experience of commitment and fully paying attention, and that's like a fun place to be.
Yeah.
Yes. No, let's ask Matt because Kevin's sown some poetry for us, which I appreciated. Now, Matt, why should a car guy get into motorcycles?
Yeah, I think, like Kevin kind of hit the nail on the head there. It's a very like visceral experience. You're exposed. like for good or bad, you're exposed, you're fully out there. You can really feel the sun beating down. I know that when I ride through Stanley Park, you come off the causeway, and as soon as you get into the park, it just smells like you're in a forest, and I love that, right? Or you're just riding along the water, and like the sun setting, it's just beautiful. You just feel, I find that I go slower. I'm in less of a hurry to get where I'm going, and I'll purposely take the longer route, just to, there's more corners, or there's less traffic lights. Yeah, you're just kind of like one with the bike. You're just going for a cruise. I don't know. It's hard. Honestly, it's hard to explain for me. You just need to go and get a bike, and like the easiest way to get into that would be to go and rent a scooter. So you go. I mean, like Ryan, I would go with you tomorrow if you wanted to rent a scooter. You know what I mean? And we just rip around, just mob around on scooters.
We should do that.
Yeah, I'm totally down.
Yeah,
I'm only going if Kevin or if Gerard gets on like a 2 horsepower scooter and just fucking Donkey Kongs around throwing shells at people.
That's a perfect example. So the first time I rode a scooter was our friend Jude, the guy with the crazy bike. He organizes this like scooter day with all his friends. So we rented the whole place out of scooters. I brought my girlfriend at the time, and that was the first time we rode a scooter together. And it was like, it's fucking sick, man, because they're literally sitting right behind you and holding you the whole time. And you can't do that in a car, man. Like I could drive around all day with her and like, oh, I'm talking to her across the way, but it's not the same thing. You're literally like, embracing each other and riding around. And that was the thing. We went to Bali on our honeymoon, and literally every single day rode the scooter for hours. And it was like the best experience. Like, like you're riding through forest. And it's a shitty thing to say, but like one of the crappy things about riding a motorcycle is like you have to put all this fucking gear on. But like when you're in those third world countries and stuff, you literally put a helmet on, you got flip flops on, and like a tank top, if you will. And like, dude, it's the best. Like you're in it.
It's not any like more safe if you're in a third world country and you're wearing flip flops
going 120K.
This is why I'm the most worried about Gerard, you guys.
But sorry, Gerard. One thing I will say is you could be wearing flip flops and shorts on your GSXR 600 as long as you had a helmet on here too.
No, I know that, but what I'm saying is, scooters are normal. The drivers drive with scooters. The amount of scooters is like 70% to cars. So like riding a scooter there is like, they're going to have an accident.
Cars know how to operate their cars around a pack of scooters.
Yeah, like
they're surrounded.
I can ride through cars going 60 kilometers an hour, like down the center lane, and they'll just be like, okay, I'm going to move over for this dude because that's what we do here, right? But anyways, the experience is like something else. It's you can't explain it, man. Like it's the most raw sort of thing. But one thing I was going to say though, the other thing that you guys didn't mention, for me, riding the bike, one of the thrills is it's exhilarating because for me, I do like to be scared. I do like to be like challenged with like controlling a thing. That's why like it's not fun unless it's a little bit scary. So for me, it's like that's why I needed a little bit of a fast bike, because it's like I need it to be fast enough that I'm like, okay, shit, like you could fucking die, but don't. So
just to reiterate, this is why I'm 100% worried about Gerard, and like, fine, Kevin's moved up to 65%.
Gerard, that reasoning is like a high school kid needing a Hellcat as their first car. I just got to be, I have that fear. That fear is what drives me. I just need a little bit of that fear. Okay. Like, what about walking before you run? What about learning how to do something properly before
what do you mean?
Like a crazy, like, do you think getting a Ferrari is a good first car? Or do you think you should get a Civic,
No.
like, or a Corolla? Gerard, what was your first car? It was a piece of shit, right?
It was a Volvo GT.
Okay. So and how much power did that car have?
123 horsepower.
Okay. And how much did it weigh?
Like 2,800 pounds or something.
Okay. So I am under the impression like Kevin's first car, that Corolla, okay, 86. I mean,
I had a Zephyr, bro. Don't even talk.
Yeah. Okay. But like you're we'll just pretend the Corolla, right?
So you're saying my bike is too crazy for a first bike? Is that
100%? 100%.
I don't agree.
Like
sure.
I do appreciate the
it's
fact
totally
that
fine,
you
man.
got
Like
it
it's totally fine for Gerard to just rev it up, once a year in the shop. It's a perfect bike for Gerard. What are you talking about, man?
Also,
Rev it up,
I want
drive it
to
up and down this thing with no insurance, with no helmet
Yeah,
on.
I never rode it.
I want to just say this. I totally appreciate whatever you're about to say, Matt. I'm totally on board because whenever we have a guest on, they never question Gerard about shit. Gerard says whatever he wants, and people are like, "Yeah, that's cool." Like Alex, like you're talking about rep wheels, and he's like, "Yeah, all right, fair point." It's like Alex's entire existence is built around like loving Japanese wheels, and you got him to say fair point, and like I don't believe for a second Eric is actually like, oh yeah, the Infinity would be like a solid that dude only drives Toyotas, and you fucking be like, Infinities are dope. Get out of here. So whatever Matt's about to do, I'm fully on board because I feel like Kevin and I are the only ones who ever asked Gerard follow-up questions. So do it.
Yeah, I just think a 600cc sport bike is like not a good first motorcycle. Like I understand the fact that you were like 40 when you got it and you had a kid and you ride safely, but then you just said that the reason that you wanted this bike was because you want to scare yourself a little bit. And it's like every motorcycle is like fast.
No, you're not. No, they're not fast, man. What are you talking about?
Okay,
a Ninja
parts.
250 is not fast.
Okay, you're right. 100%.
A DRZ is not really fast.
Okay, you're right. Sorry, I worded
your
that
350
incorrectly.
Honda, not fast.
Hey,
the
man.
Enfield, kind of fast.
Nah, not really. So
right?
the Enfield,
So okay,
can
you
easily
contradict yourself.
easily die on all
Yes,
of them.
yeah,
You
Someone
can
fast
die on a
enough.
fucking bicycle, man.
it's fast enough.
Yeah, totally.
You
Like,
can die on a
don't-
bike.
Yeah, don't give me that.
And that is that is what you should be saying to Ryan Benoit, because like I'm here on the motorcycle with you. But yeah, exactly. Ryan Benoit, you could die heart attack, a meteor fucking strike. You could die.
Meteor?
Yeah,
Yeah.
anything. Your cat could fucking jump up and kill you. Like who the fuck knows?
I
Like,
do
You might
like
as
look.
well
I-
at least do what you want to do while you're alive and have
That's-
fun doing it.
And
some
do
reason
you
it as
have
safe
to-
as you possibly can. You gotta walk that line. Like you have to know, like, is this stupid as fuck, or is this, a little bit stupid but a little bit fun, but I know I'm not gonna die.
What's the fastest you've been on your bike, Gerard?
Just
How fast have you gone?
200.
Okay,
That's not that fast. I do
200 kilometers an hour.
kilometers an hour.
Yeah, so that's 120 miles an hour.
Yeah.
That isn't actually
Yeah,
in
exactly.
the grand
Yeah.
scheme of things. I've been in a Nissan Maxima at 200 one time. and that was
Look,
fucking scary. That
Dumb-
was
Yeah,
motivating.
and like
Dumb-
dudes on bikes go like 340. I'm like, dude, no thanks. Like,
all right.
like yeah,
listen.
you can.
You guys can be as mad as you want and be like, and I get it, and this is very great, but statistically, motorcycles are more dangerous than cars. Like statistically
Absolutely.
speaking,
Yeah.
they are.
I don't think
for whatever
anyone here would
reason.
deny that.
And
So,
also,
To Kevin's
it could be-
point,
you
I
could be the safest-
probably will not get killed by a meteorite before if I get like my chances. I'm not gonna fucking live in Armageddon, the movie, and that's gonna happen before I get on a motorbike.
Yeah, but
I don't
but
think
it
the chances
could.
are the same.
You know what I mean? Anything
get
could
it.
happen.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're arguing that point, like, oh, this you could die on anything, like, yeah, that's not fair because it is a statistically insanely high rate of death or injury, serious injury on a motorcycle, and that's
Hold on.
that's
I think
facts.
insanely high is not facts. That makes it sound like
Yeah.
like 1 out of the 3 of us is going to die doing this. And I
It's
don't
pretty high. I don't know. Look it up.
It is.
It's
It
not-
is.
it's not
It
one
is.
out of 3.
I guarantee you more people die of sugar or obesity or
No.
Are you calling me
smoking.
fat,
No,
Kevin?
number one under 30. Number one is motor vehicle accident, and it doesn't say motorcycles or whatever. You could probably break it down, but number one is motor vehicle accident.
TSA
TSA,
reports that 13 cars out of every 100,000 are involved in fatal car accidents, but motorcycles have a fatality rate of 72 per 100,000. Yeah.
sorry. Is that
it's like-
100,000 accidents or
So
100,000
it's like
riders?
you're five times more likely, basically, to be involved in a
Ooh,
fatal accidents on
Yeah.
a
Sorry.
motorcycle
No,
than
no,
versus
no.
a car.
35 times higher than a car driver. So it's actually 35 times higher.
Yeah, I mean, like your
That's a pretty
body
insane.
is just like out there. Like,
Yeah,
I don't
that's
think
a
that
pretty-
fact is.
I would
Like,
say
yeah, of
that's
course you're-
insane. 35 times higher is pretty insane.
No, that's
No, but like
35
when
times
you're
higher if
involved
you're
in an accident.
For
Yeah, if you're
every
in an
mile
accident
traveled,
happens.
it says, okay, hang on. So it says for every mile traveled, motorcyclists have a risk of a fatal accident that is 35 times higher than a car driver. I don't want to take this away from anyone. This is the most poetic you guys have ever been about anything we've talked about, and it's beautiful, but it is more dangerous. And I don't, like, statistically speaking, it is more dangerous. And to piggyback on Matt's point, Gerard was like, he's like, I just, sometimes I need to shake hands with the devil and like teeter that line of death just so I can feel alive.
But it's not even, man. It's like, I need to feel like I need the thing to actually fucking accelerate. Like, that's the reason why I don't think those scooters are cool. Cause it's like you pin the throttle and you wait 10 minutes for it to get to 20 kilometers an hour. That it's not enjoyable for me.
Yeah. But in that 20 minutes, you have the time to set up the perfect line through that corner. And you know how gratifying it is?
Don't give a fuck. Don't give a fuck.
Gerard,
in that 20 minutes, you have time to put your foot on the kickstand and drag it on the ground and produce a bunch of sparks and have everyone turn and stare at you and be like, what the fuck is going on?
So you're basically doing it for fucking people to think you're an idiot. For people to look at you and be like, look at that guy, he's an idiot.
100%. Yes.
That sounds like a real...
Gerard, in our last episode, you said, and I quote, I just want other people to look at my car and think it's cool. So this isn't the most ludicrous thing.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Some people might think those things are cool. Some people might not, just like the car.
Yeah, but
right?
I could find a bunch of people that think that our car hobbies are cool. People that are into it will probably be like, fuck. If I saw Kevin do that, I'd probably be like, fucking sick, Kevin. I wouldn't. And then if he fell off of it, he would just have a little tumble and be okay. And then, that'd be fine.
Especially if it's in a third world country, then he's totally fine.
Yeah. So what I've learned today is that Gerard is arguing for less safety restrictions on motorcycles, and just always tempt yourself a little bit with the fear of death to keep yourself
No, you have to have it there.
I kind of agree though. It's like, because that's the fun. I can't push myself in the car. Like, I'm a drive to work and drive home. I can't push myself. There's no like learning I can do to make myself a better driver.
But you can negotiate the shit out of traffic.
Yeah, I've been doing that for years, and you know what I mean. Like, that's what I mean. Like, that is a skill in itself. Like, totally. But like, I feel that like riding the bike from work and home, there's like a million things I could practice, and like
going downstairs,
and
going
like,
upstairs.
Yeah, it's the most fun. But yeah, like Matt said though, like I always try and take a different way home. I always try and go the longest route. I always want to like, just find any experience to ride a different road or see something new. But like when I'm in the car, it's just like hop on the highway, drive home.
Like I know we touched on it, like electric bicycles, like e-bikes. Because I think they're fucking.
No, I think that's a fine talking point, because it feels like the next generation isn't into motorcycles.
Yeah.
Because the next generation isn't into cars.
Yeah. Less and less people getting their licenses, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like, and honestly, like if less and less people are getting their driver's license, that means less and less people are getting their motorcycle license, and like. But it does seem like more and more people are gravitating towards bicycles and e-bikes.
Yeah, that's fair. I've heard people in the Vancouver parks talking about how they've gone to like check out e-bikes. But yeah, that does. It's barriers of entry. You don't need to get a license for an e-bike, right?
No.
The weird thing I don't get is they're still heavy though. Like I've ridden an e-bike, and like. Pedaling and stuff is one thing, but like if you're trying to huck that thing off jumps or hop a curb or something, man, it's
you're not.
Oh, you definitely are. There's e-mountain bikes. There's all sorts of e-bikes.
Yeah, but I mean, like I don't think that's what it's for. It's for people who can commute.
Dude, it's for fucking anything.
I think e-bikes are for like lazy pieces of shit that don't want to get into shape by riding a real bicycle.
I sort of agree, but like. So they have like top of the line downhill bikes that are now e-bikes, because like half the shit of mountain biking is going back up the hill, so you can either shuttle or fucking pedal or bring some people or ride a fucking e-bike.
That's fair, but that's not like the average person riding around town.
Okay, well,
Right.
that's the e-bike I'm talking about. I mean, those other e-bikes, yeah, exactly. They're not for lazy.
You're talking about
people.
one specific specialized
Yeah.
e-bike
No, but
that
they're-
only gets you back up the hill so you can gravity ride back
What
down
about
the
an
hill.
e-motorbike? Those are tight. It's just it's like replace
So
the
you're talking about e-dirt bike, or are you talking about like e-sport bike? Or
e-dirt
like,
bike. E-dirt bike.
That's what I
think
mean,
is
like-
pretty cool.
so
Okay, well, whatever.
what I'm gonna say is like,
They're not
like-
for lazy pieces of shit at all, man.
oh, my
That-
girlfriend's mom, like rode an e-bike for the first time. They rode from Langley to downtown and
Yeah,
back.
Exactly.
This is a 60-year-old woman.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying it's a lazy piece of shit, but like, there's no way that woman could have physically rode a bicycle that far.
Exactly.
And it just, I know that's what, so that to me, it's about that. It's about commuting. It's about going way further than you physically could go. It's not about like hucking it off jumps and performance and shit. It's about being a way more viable mode of transportation for the average person, and like,
Yeah.
the average person that Ryan works with.
All right, man. Sure. Like,
Ryan, you work with a bunch of
I
lazy
agree
pieces
that
of
that's
shit.
one
no,
aspect
all the
of
people
e-bikes.
I work with that ride bikes are like what we are about cars. They are about bicycles. So your answer for how many motorcycles you should have, the guy that helps me look for bikes, his thing is like, hey, how many bicycles should you have? And his is actually an equation. It isn't a number. It's like
Exactly.
X minus 1, and X is the number of bikes his wife would leave him at having. So it's like, it's always have one bicycle less than the number that your wife would leave you at. And so that's how he does it. And he's a serious cyclist, and he has like tons of bikes. So I don't know a ton of people that like ride.
How many e-bikes does he have?
None, because he hates them. He thinks they're dumb.
Why does he think they're dumb?
Because he's a hardcore cyclist.
Yeah, because it's the same reason that like Gerard hates Teslas, like
Yeah,
Okay.
basically.
it's the same thing. It's like it's the spirit of it. So I have also, in that sense, it's like I get that. I'm like, if you're gonna ride a bicycle, like be about that. But
Yeah,
I get
I mean-
Kevin's point. It is for everyone else. It's not about the spirit of any fucking thing. It's about getting from point A to point B. This is what it is.
Sort of, yeah. But like, you still want to ride a bicycle because a bicycle is a fun mode of transport. But you want to be able to do more on that bike. Like, I mean, I think they're sick. I probably wouldn't buy one because I can't afford the fucking things, and also like I don't really have a use for it. Like when I go downtown, I want to ride my bike. But like if I had to go to work, I'd get an e-bike for sure.
Yeah,
There's
that's I think what
basically-
Kevin's
yeah.
saying.
There's like a Fortnite video that talks about e-bikes and how they're like not as safe as motorcycles. Because basically, like the first point is that people are looking out for motorcycles, sort of like they're on the road driving as a normal car would, whereas e-bikes are in the bicycle lane, or they'll just dart across traffic, or they'll ride through the
Especially if
crosswalk.
Gerard's riding in it.
So like that's
Why
like
you
the
have that
part.
fear?
Like
Gotta
the
have
second,
that
yeah, like
fear.
the second part is like, yeah, there's no licensing. Anybody with
Yeah.
any skill level
Any idiot.
can hop on an e-bike right away.
Yeah.
With and then the third level is like that there's no padding, You're not gonna, like, if you're gonna get on a motorcycle, you're gonna have that fear of God, or that like shake with the devil, and you're gonna want to maybe put some stuff on to like not die. But on a
Flip-flops.
it's like it's a bicycle. Who cares, right?
Yeah. I like that we started talking about motorcycles, and now we're kind of just arguing that there should be like more safety and legislation on like on
E-bikes.
e-bikes. Like this is what this has actually turned into.
One thing I was gonna say too about motorbikes that's really cool is because cars now are like, you could be a fucking idiot and drive a car. Like, you don't even have to know how to drive a car anymore, because the cars, half of them drive them fucking selves. There's no such thing as a manual transmission. You don't do anything in a car anymore. You simply hop in. And I mean, if Elon Musk had his way, you simply hop in and get taken to your fucking place. Whereas on a motorcycle, on most motorcycles, there's probably very few motorcycles that you don't have to do anything. You have to use the clutch. There's 2 fucking brakes. You have to shift the gears yourself. You have to know what the fuck you're doing.
And it feels a little bit more like finite too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like
Oh,
there's
yeah.
a lot of room for error on an inline 6 3-liter when you're
with rubber engine mounts and a rubber
trying to
diff.
rev match, exactly. You
Yeah.
know, but like when you got one cylinder and that's the only thing, you really know when your RPM is off. Like,
And
And
maybe
you're sitting on top of the engine.
yeah,
And the
sometimes
wheel
that front
that-
sprocket's rubber.
Yeah, well, they have bikes have engine
they're
engine mounts, right? But and like not all of them, right?
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you're sitting on top of the engine. The tire that's being driven by the motor is, you know, 2
Under
feet
your
away.
ass.
Yeah, it's under your ass, right? You can feel like, you know, I can feel like, hey, my chain needs adjustment.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right. And so yeah, it's like you're just more you feel everything. You feel the road, you feel the vibration through the handlebars. Yeah, I mean, the thing about motorcycle culture is there's like so much. I mean, it's like cars. There's like a million different types of car culture, and it's the same thing with motorcycles. So I think the fact that like basically everywhere else in the world except for North America relies heavily on scooters and motorcycles as like a family form of transportation means that it's going to survive for a long time. Nobody in North America has a motorcycle for like work purposes.
Exactly.
You know what I
Nobody
mean?
needs
I
a
think
motorcycle.
there will be a switch though. It seems like currently everything is getting to be more expensive. Cars are more expensive, insurance is more expensive, gas is more expensive. All these people who have come accustomed to not taking public transportation still don't want to take public transportation. So eventually, like, I feel that those people are going to have to like come down into like that, you know, Asian market where it's just like the scooter or the
Scooters
motorcycle
everywhere.
is
Or
or
the
yeah, maybe
e-bike.
the e-bike's going to come out.
I think it's going to be
hard.
the e-bike,
exactly.
man.
Yeah.
That's what I'm kind
Or
of
the
thinking.
E something.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what I'm
like-
kind of thinking.
yeah.
The barrier of entry for like a teenager now is like, hey, do you want to go get your motorcycle license and learn how to do this and then pay like way more in insurance? Or do you just want to buy an electric bicycle that'll do like 50 kilometers an
The
hour?
insurance is nothing, man. The insurance is literally nothing.
It is still nothing. I think it. Oh, sorry, in
On a
Saskatchewan.
motorcycle?
Yeah.
Well, you don't ride a 600cc bike or a 7 or an 800,000cc bike. Any bike that can fucking kill you is expensive.
Yeah, it's especially if the bike is a big motorcycle, like a big displacement bike, and it's expensive, like Harleys. You know, when I was working there, the most expensive bike was $55,000, and I can't even imagine what that would be. That's probably $350 a month.
Yeah,
insurance
for sure.
Right, and like that's probably not even full coverage. Right.
And
so Harley guys hate it because they get dinged for having like a big CC bike, but you know, they don't really, it's not a sport bike, right? They're,
sport bike insurance is extremely high too.
Yeah. Right. So
it feels as if, to some degree, regardless, all of all the things, and we've had guests on, so we've had Matt for motorcycles, and we've had Eric for SUV or like 4x4. All of these things right now are under fire regardless, like to some degree. And it just continually feels like more and more of the, whatever the automotive or motoring culture that you're into is going to be more and more threatened in the future. All right. So what are our takeaways for motorcycle culture? Car guys get into motorcycles. Thoughts, concerns?
Go buy a cheap bike. Learn about it, because you don't know anything about fucking motorcycles. Learn how to fucking rebuild a carb if you want to go that deep, because that's really fun. That's not a pain in the ass trying to sync 4 carburetors together. Definitely go to motorcycle school and get fucking gear, and don't be
gear.
A
I would say get gear, 100%.
You don't think you should go to motorcycle school?
I both did not go.
Yeah,
and look at you guys. Look at you guys now.
Yeah. Do you think Gerard's ever gonna? Given what we've learned from Gerard over these last however many episodes, I don't ever feel like Gerard would be like, I'm gonna go somewhere and have someone teach me how to do a thing.
This is true.
Gerard might go teach a motorcycle course.
No, I definitely wouldn't. I mean, that's definitely one thing. I was very respectful of anybody telling me anything about like riding a motorcycle. Like, you know, I've never done it. It's extremely dangerous. The thing is, most of the time, it's not you killing you. It's someone killing you. Doesn't matter what the fuck you're riding.
No, I don't know if I agree with that, because like working at the dealership, I would hear people all the time. Motorcycle riders love to complain about how they almost got fucking killed. And I found from my personal experience and from like talking to people that the majority of the time you're going too fast.
Because you work in a
80
fucking Harley dealership, dude. Everybody in there has a small dick and is like, oh, I'm gonna buy the fucking sickest motorbike. Oh, look at me. You know what I mean? And like,
and none of them have good brakes. Everybody comes in and puts the like stage 11 motor shit and then never upgrades the brakes. I used to always ask people, hey, you gonna like put like another disc on the front, or what are you doing? No, man, like it's all good. Like, you know, we're gonna put like a track supercharger on it and like have stock brakes. And it's like, all right, cool, man. Like,
I want to say, and I didn't want to even say it in this episode, that's sometimes how I feel about it. Like, I remember like they asked a question for what you should do with motorcyclists on the road, and it's like, always pay attention. Like, you got to look out for them. But then sometimes I just watch motorcyclists do the dumbest fucking shit on their motorbike. Like, yeah, I'm going to watch you just like rip through traffic and like split lanes or
while doing a wheelie.
Yeah, while being an idiot. And then you're going to go home and be like, nobody was looking out for me. And it's kind of the same mentality that like cyclists have in this city. Whereas when I talk to people who cycle, if you're a pedestrian, they don't give a fuck about you. They're like, I'm a vehicle, get out of my way. But as soon as a car shows up, a person on a bicycle is always like, whoa, I'm a pedestrian.
Look out for me.
Pedestrian. Look out for me. Why aren't you looking out for me? It's like, well, maybe you shouldn't be fucking bombing down Main Street and like slapping people's cars and shit. Like, go 2 streets over and use the bike lane, you dumb fuck. Mm-hmm. So part of me does, you know, like, I get it. You got to watch out for people. But then you do see the people being like, oh, I'm just going to do 200, which you've said is like, doesn't seem like a lot on a motorbike.
If everyone's doing 100 and you're doing 200, that's a lot.
Yeah.
If it's the middle of the night and there's nobody on the road and you're doing 180, it's pretty easy to get there and not realize what you're doing, you know?
Yeah.
I think the key is to do it in Mexico. Isn't that the popular thing right now?
Everything's
filmed in Mexico.
Yeah. Do it in Mexico.
Yeah.
So that was always my thing. There seems like there's a level of hypocrisy. Like, look out for me, but also look out for me doing dope shit, you know?
Yeah,
like,
you know. I mean, and that's the thing.
Exact same thing could be said about the modified car world, though. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh, like, don't tread on me in my modified car, but look at me and my modified car.
Yeah, like,
hang on.
You shouldn't be on me with 13 degrees of camber, you fucking asshole. It's like, okay, man, like 13 degrees of camber, sure. And you're fucking like worn out bullshit tires that are made in China. Like,
the thing is that I guess though, barrier of entry to build like to get a fast bike that'll do that, even like what we were saying with like Gerard's bike, is different than the barrier of entry for a car. So it's like, look, I'm going to make a hasty generalization, but the guys that I know that are into cars aren't doing super dumb stuff in traffic. I agree. There's a level of car guys that are fucking dumb, but are they really car guys, or are they just like tourists doing dumb shit, you know? And it's like, it's probably easier to be a tourist in the motorcycle world and fuck it up for everyone else than it is to be a tourist in like import car culture and fuck it up for everyone.
One thing what I will say, Ryan, is that I feel like you brought up an excellent point there, where you talk about the barriers of entry, but also about the tourists. Because like, sure, you could be a tourist in the motorcycle world, but like, you're gonna die. You know, like if you don't treat it with the respect that it deserves, you're gonna die. Yeah. You could be a tourist in the car world, and you're gonna wreck your car. And then you're going to be like, this is not for me.
Yeah.
And you're still going to be alive to make other decisions, you know?
Yeah.
And then the other thing I will say about the barrier of entry is like, that's totally correct. Like, if you want to buy a car that is that fast, it's, you know, you're spending $100,000 to $250,000 on a car. If you want to buy the equivalently fast motorcycle, it's $12,000 to $20,000.
Yeah.
So yeah, like, if you want that speed and that thrill, you can get there for way cheaper with a motorcycle.
Yeah.
And then kill yourself that much easier.
Which comes back to my original.
You fuck it up that tiny bit, you know?
Yeah.
But,
you know, when you're side by side with a car and you're in your modified car, you're like, oh, like, I can take this car, I'm going to accelerate off the line, and like, I will be able to cut in front of it before that parked car. And like, that's the same thing with a motorcycle. When you're with a motorcycle, you're always like, okay, like, I can beat this car off the line and get in front of it and it'll be fine. But now it's like an electric Kia Soul, and it can out accelerate a motorcycle and it's driven by someone who's on their phone and doesn't give a shit about cars anyway. And it's like, so now all of a sudden the power of someone who absolutely can control every physical aspect of this crazy machine is equaled to the power of someone who's basically staring at their phone.
Brain dead.
And it yeah, exactly. And then, you know, but maybe that's where the electric bikes come in, and they're just like so much faster that it doesn't even, you know, that's the next level.
So just so we're clear, the future of motorcycles now hinges on becoming faster off the line than electric cars.
No, specifically a Kia Soul.
Rear ventry Kia Soul, but it's like the only way motorbikes can.
No, but I mean, hey, like if I'm lining up with a Taycan, then I can at least assume that person cares enough about cars and that they are going to pay attention to me.
Yeah.
But if you're lined up against a toaster that's electric,
like
I have no
Tesla
faith
Model
in that
3.
driver. Let's wrap this up. So what are our key takeaways? I will say, now that I've talked to Matt for a long period of time, it's gone from a 25er to like 75er. So
Yay.
Kevin's gone from a 50. Also, because like I don't want to take.
I was at a 25.
Yeah, he was 25.
No, he was.
You were 50.
He was 50. Kevin was 50.
No, he's 50. Gerard's 100.
Did you go down to 25?
No,
I thought it started at 25.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, Kevin, be careful on those stairs. All right, that's what my takeaway. And Gerard, I still think you have no business around a motorcycle. Like this hasn't proven anything to me like that you should have one, and that's all right. You're your own independent thinker, but I don't want you on a motorcycle.
Okay, so my takeaway would be that motorcycles are fucking sick. They're super fun. Like mobbing around with your buddies all on bikes is like second to none.
Yeah, it's like last time I rode with you guys, with you and Eric, that last time when we went to like basically just like Stanley Park, that was like the sickest. And like we didn't need to go fast. We didn't need to do anything. You just basically ride your sick motorbike around, and it's like fucking dope.
Yeah. Can't you do that on a sick scooter?
Okay. So that's what I was going to get at is if you have any inkling, any interest in motorcycling, but you don't know how to get into it. You don't know if you want to spend the $2,000, $5,000, whatever to get the bike and gear and try it. Go with your friends and rent scooters and just rip around. And if you have a blast doing that, and I guarantee you will, then look into motorcycles. There's like a wealth of information. There's a million YouTube videos about, you know, what's the best first motorcycle to get and all, but you know, just get a little bike that you're not going to kill yourself on if you're, you know, irresponsible like Gerard, and just, I don't know, have fun. It's extremely fun.
And buy the gear, man. I mean, the bike might cost $1,500, but you need to spend probably close to that in fuck gear. Like, don't buy some bullshit pants or shoes or like a jacket.
What I'm going to say is don't get a motorcycle until you fully modified your car. What you need to be doing is buying control arms, subframe bushings, diff bushings,
engine mounts,
bell housings, engine mounts, oil caps, shift knobs, steering wheels. You should be buying all of this, hoodies, hats, before you even think about buying a motorcycle.
And then you should go to the blog that's also maybe attached to all the parts and just buy stickers from them.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you want to buy some stickers, you know?
Yeah,
like,
maybe you want to.
How are you going to modify your bike in the beginning? By putting Dodo Logic stickers on it, you know?
Exactly.
I will say that as somebody who doesn't currently own a cool car, the SerialNINE clothing is all like very soft and fits very well and washes nicely. It doesn't shrink or anything. So if
you could use it for motorcycling.
Yeah, you can.
What? You just had to buy like safe. you could rip around.
You can wear it under.
No, but you can wear your SerialNINE t-shirt under your jacket. So that when you take your jacket off.
I thought you meant it doesn't have spinal protection in it.
Hold on. I don't wear any shirts under my leather vests. There's no pants. There's no shirts. Chaps, leather vest. That's it.
All right. This was a great conversation that I don't know if it's moved the needle on anything, but it was a lot of fun. I hope everyone prays for Kevin, Matt, and Gerard every night. You're
I mean,
waving goodbye.
if there's one thing I've learned from listening to all these podcasts is that like I don't even think like a purpose, like it doesn't even matter if we went anywhere with this. It's just like it is what it is,
We
right?
went in a big circle.
Yeah.
Sometimes we land on a thing, sometimes we don't, and that's how this goes. All right. Well, with that, I think we should call it. Gerard, say something fun. I like when you close the episode.
All right. Well, thank you for listening, and we hope that you are safe on your motorcycle. But with that said, enjoy the shit out of it because it's awesome. So if you're even thinking about it, we highly recommend riding one because they're super dope. But be careful.
Except for me, I don't. Stay away, buy cars. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Serial Podcast 9.